Hey everybody, it's Robert coming to you with another adventure into history, and today we are in the woods of Harris County, Georgia, right beside a busy highway and near Oak Mountain. And we actually have come to another Carter cemetery. We just filmed another one in the woods that had an amazing old grave house that was like Jimmy Carter's fourth great uncle, if I recall correctly. So Dan, where are we at?
We're just north of Waverly Hall at the base of Oak Mountain. And we're in Harris County, and this is the Carter and Wilkes family cemetery. I understand that the Carters and Griffins lived near here back in the old days. This cemetery was pretty much forgotten for a long time, and sometime I believe I heard that it was in the late 1960s, there was a family member who came here and had this wall built and had this monument put over in the middle with all the names on it. And the story that was told to me was this gentleman was from out west, like maybe Texas or somewhere, and he had a family reunion and they gathered enough money to put this marker up. And he came here and stayed in Columbus and was the overseer of this project. And he stayed here and made sure that everything was done, and when it was finally completed, he came here after spending months off and on, back and forth to oversee this. He came here and inspected it to make sure everything was finished. And on his last trip, he backed out into the road here in his car, and someone hit him and collided with another car, and he got killed. Wow. So that's all I know about that. I don't know what his name was. I don't know what part of, I've heard it was Texas, but I don't know that to be true. But I do know that he was from out of state and from out west. And that happened, I don't remember it happening, I've just heard about it. But I want to say that it was in the mid to late 1960s. Wow. But he did a wonderful job of documenting something, because if he had not, we would have no idea who was buried here or the dates. And this is very impressive that he did this. And it continues to be well kept, even though it's under a canopy of trees. I think that he must have probably put a concrete floor in here, and that's helped kind of retard the amount of trees and things that have come up in it.
It looks amazing, and you would never know, like Dan said, you'd never know there was a cemetery here. You'd hardly even know that this is here. We're just off the road, but it is in some thick woods. Do you know if these Carters are related to the Carters that we saw before?
They probably are. I don't know for sure. I've never researched it. That's something that I just haven't had time to do. But Joy or anybody else that wants to look into it certainly might find out something and put something in the comments. Absolutely. You could read those off and read the dates, and maybe somebody will pick up on it. The first time that I ever heard of this, I was just a kid, and we were buying peaches right across the road over there. Mr. Joe Ingram was the peach farmer, and I believe he owns this property surrounding this cemetery, because he told me about this cemetery, and he said, you can go over there. And I went, and I've got a picture that I made, and that was probably in 1980 or 81, and it hasn't changed a bit. It looks the same now as it did then.
So buried in this plot are the graves of Catherine Carter. She was just 12 years old. She was born in 1824 and died in 1836. So she's really early burial here. And then there's William Carter, who was born in 1800 and died in 1859. Mary Wilkes Carter, born 1790 and died 1877. Mary Carter-Griffin was born in 1828 and died in 1885. William James Griffin, born in 1846 and died in 1863. Sarah Thomas Wilkes was born in 1736 and she died in 1847. Anna Wilkes was born in 1802 and died in 1857. And Winifred Wilkes Carter was born in 1795 and died in 1873. And so each of these graves, these 8 graves, are marked.
Now come around and read this side.
Oh wow, I didn't know there was anything on the back. William Carter, an original settler of this area, brought his family to Georgia from South Carolina in 1828. He bought this land and land in Talbot County where they lived. We are all part of a long story, each like a child at school papers, writing his chapter to be handed in to the great teacher. Our help is in the name of the Lord.
Very nice.
Yes, it is. I love the detail. Here, William Carter, original settler. It's interesting. Any idea where his house might have been? His home place?
Well, since it says that they bought this land in Talbot County where they lived, the Talbot County line is visible. Well, the area of the Talbot County line is right out there.
Gotcha.
And this is that line right out there of Talbot County is the western border of Rough Edge. We're in Harris County. This is not considered Rough Edge. This is just considered Oak Mountain. But right across the road over there is County Line Road, and Talbot County Line is, what, 400 yards from here?
Gotcha.
So their house would have been down that way.
Also etched back here, it looked like it was hand etched. When the concrete was wet, it says Carter.
There's a date.
Oh, yeah.
So this wall was put up.
In 1916.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So the wall was put here with no names or dates in it.
Yeah.
And he came and had this and these headstones put in.
Right. Oh, wow. That's really cool right there.
Yes, it is.
Carter. 1916. See, I'd assumed that the wall was put in when the rest of the
Me
work
too.
was done. But
Because it almost looks like cinder blocks with plastering on it and
Yeah.
a cap, but it's not. It's actually rock.
sure enough.
Well, I don't know. It looks like poured concrete, doesn't it? That was quite a undertaking in 1916 to pour that much concrete at once.
It's poured concrete over rock. There are big rocks in there, but it is that kind of old style concrete.
Yeah.
This kind of just comes apart, real sandy. That's neat though.
Because there's no visible seams in it.
Mm-mm.
You know, there's settlement cracks. But it doesn't seem that there's any graves outside of here.
Yeah, I was just wondering that. This area looks like it's been, well, it was cleared until relatively recently. In other words, there's not really any old growth trees out here. There has been, that's repair work on the wall, isn't it, in that corner?
Yeah. Looks like it might have been painted at one time.
Yeah, that's what that is paint.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is a neat place. And I love the additional history on the gravestone there. So many times, you know, we do see a name and a birth date, but having an additional history like that is really cool, especially for future generations ongoing. And what a tragic story too of the fella who came out here to place that, and who was tragically killed on his last day out here checking on it. That's definitely a tragic story here too. All right, everybody, I hope you have enjoyed seeing this with us. This is an old cemetery that has been remembered. It's got a modern marker with lots of information on it. So it's a lot of times we see these old cemeteries in the woods that are, you know, almost lost, almost covered up, or have been destroyed in many different ways. But this one is very nice with its marker, and several different histories here, from the rock wall being built in 1916 to this modern marker being put up, that you could tell that long after these people had passed away, the last death was 1885. Long after they'd passed away, people were still coming out here and remembering them. What you think, Dan?
I think it's a good example of why people should mark graves. If you know of a unmarked grave, if you know who's in it, try to get it marked. Make a record that's who's buried there, because in just a few years, things like this are lost.
Absolutely.
They're lost. And there's so many cemeteries around here that are lost that no one knows who they are. They're just a pile of rocks in the woods,
Yeah.
or indention in the ground. But if this headstone was right here, we would have no idea who this is. Now, there was Carter is written on the wall over there, but we still would have a hard time finding who the individuals are in here. But I'd like to give a shout out to my friend Diane for the new snake stick. Diane drove all the way from Kentucky to bring me this, and that means a lot, and I really appreciate it. So you'll be seeing the snake stick in future videos. Hopefully no snakes though.